You have just tapped into the Christian Life Coach Collective, and I'm your host, Laura Malone. I'm here to equip and encourage coaches in skills, business, personal life, and faith. I believe you're already 100% worthy and capable, and you're called for such a time as this. So let's get you walking it out with courage and confidence so you can be an amazing coach who sees transformation and great results in both your life and the lives around you. Let's get started. Today, I want to talk about a lie that might be keeping you on the sidelines instead of building what God's calling you to build. And it sounds like this. I have to have a big launch. That's what I hear them, see them telling me to do. I must have a beautiful, perfect website. I have to have this perfectly built out coaching program. All the bells and whistles have to be in place before I can even begin. I'm telling you, it is just not true. I know it for a fact in my own life and business, but in my clients' lives and businesses. Like, this myth sneaks in and it wears the mask of excellence. It says I'm professional, but underneath is fear and perfectionism and imposter syndrome dressed up to look like productivity. So we talk about a lot of things, how we have these interpretations of things, these belief systems that are wearing masks, and then we have to look at what is underneath it and what is it posing as, right? It's important to see that when we call things a spirit of excellence, I'm a professional, or I want to be one, or it has to be very productive and so that people want to go with me, we have to see what's underneath it. So if you've been thinking like, I'll launch when it's ready, or I'll start when I've created and banked all the content for 6 months, 3 months, a year, whatever, or I have to have a logo and brand colors and a good jobby funnel first, then I want to interrupt you gently and say, you just simply don't need all of that to get started. You need one person to serve. And maybe you've been coaching for a long time, but we're talking about a new offer, a new coaching program, or a course that you're creating. You simply need one person to serve and a clear message about how you help them. You need the confidence, which means I'm willing to show up and try and begin before you get that emotion of feeling ready or certain or competent. So here's what I've learned coaching women who want to coach. Big launches mostly burn people out, especially if you are a solopreneur and you don't have a launch team, okay? Fancy websites, they don't close the gap between you and the person who actually needs you. And by the way, the first time you build a website, no matter what you do, no matter how great you are, it is not going to be the end all. You will continue to cultivate that website. So don't think that having a website, sometimes I think it actually works against you. Because if you don't know what you're doing and you don't know what you're saying and you have no clarity because you've not coached people enough to have the clarity to put on the website so you have good copy, is working against you. And it'd probably be better for you to not have a website, because people who show up on a website that is unclear and sometimes ugly and sometimes broken because you don't have the money, because you don't have any clients to actually pay to get the website taken care of, it can actually detract from what you're trying to do. Relationship bridges the gap between you and your clients. Conversations do that. Trust does that. Good, high valuable, consumable content does that. And trust doesn't come from polishing things till they're perfect. It comes from being present. So I know it's tempting to want all of the pieces in place and feeling like if I do these things, I'll never be rejected and everybody will see that I am legit in this industry. And to feel like you have to prove you're legit before anybody will take you seriously is a really normal feeling, But what if we flip that upside down and you let your experience with real people shape your future program and future branding and future launching? Because the most successful coaches I know started small and served one person really well, and then one more, and then one more, and they build as they go, and they're better for it. So the coaching world is full of people trying to build a skyscraper before they ever pour the foundation. But you don't want to build something on sand, right? You don't want to build it in the air. You want to have a rock as your foundation. So what you already have needs to be cultivated. Your voice, your story, your heart to help, those things are your foundation and they matter the most. So instead of waiting for like the air quotes right time to launch something big, I want to offer you this idea. What if just starting is your launch? It's not going to look like the people on Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn who are doing this massive launch. Like, you don't do that until much later. And what if your first client, even whether first client as a coach ever, or your first client in this program or in this offer, what if that is the ultimate program right now? What that does is it makes you the kind of coach who is present with the client instead of thinking about yourself and when you're in a session. So what if the clarity comes from doing, right? Clarity comes from action instead of thinking about the perfect plan. So I don't want you to miss the joy of all the beginning because you're trying to work so hard to make it all so impressive because nobody else is paying attention to whether you're impressive or not. That's you. You're thinking about being impressive to yourself and proving things to yourself. And you need to coach yourself through it and ask yourself, like, what am I trying to prove to myself? Start simple. Serve someone really well as you can right now, knowing what you know, and then build that from there. And if it feels too small or too slow for your inner achiever, I want to remind you that small is where God does a lot of his best work. And Jesus didn't start with a massive stage and 1 million people in an auditorium or a stadium. He started with a table of 12 people. He built personal connection. He spent time. He developed trust, and he encouraged and created transformation. You want to be like Jesus? Do that. You don't need 10,000 followers or even 1,000. I don't have that because I'm not focused on that. You don't need a launch team or a brand photo shoot. You just need obedience, humility, teachability, and the courage to say, I know this is really hard. I know it's really hard. You might need to write this down. I'm willing to look a little unpolished while I'm just being faithful. Can you say that to yourself? Like, coach yourself. Look into your eyes in the mirror and walk yourself, use the thought ladder, move towards this. I am willing to look a little unpolished while I'm just taking faithful steps. So if you've been stuck in this cycle of over-researching anything, all your platforms and your ideas and reworking your niche statement and your elevator pitch or waiting for somebody to tell you that you're official enough and they believe in you, this is your moment because you are the one who gets to name the season you're in and the one who gets to say, this is my beginning and it's good, because beginnings are allowed to be scrappy and experimental, and they're allowed to be quiet and enjoy the sound of crickets. Yay! It means you did something and you're waiting to be responded to. That's awesome. You will get a response, but be patient. Your beginnings are allowed to be kind of like this deeply sacred place for your own soul, but also really beautifully messy inside and out. And the truth is that when you wait to be impressive, you miss the invitation and the opportunity to be impactful. because people are not waiting for your perfection. They just need you to be present and available and willing to sit with them in their story while you are still writing yours. Put that on a sticky note. Say it to the mirror. I'm willing to sit with other people in their story that's in process while my story is still in process. And I want to be honest, like, your story, I know that I've had a lot of people, especially in the beginning, working together, that say, like, I need a website. And I understand it, and I've coached a lot of people through it. I'm just going to say your story and voice is not more powerful once it's on a website, once it's in that perfect bio. It's not more powerful then. It is powerful when you clarify it and declare it anywhere, at any time, in any way. It becomes powerful the moment you decide to tell the truth about what you've walked through, why you care, how you can help other people, what you know. So let this one right now be the moment where you stop waiting to look like a coach and you start living and acting like one. Post that thing you're thinking about and send the message to the person that you keep thinking about and worrying about, or offer the session or the package or the program or the course or the offer of whatever. Just start with doing the one thing with the one person and let your obedience build the room that you're going to walk into one day with confidence, not because it was all polished and perfect, but because you lived it out. You started acting like a coach, and it was all surrendered, not perfected. That is the life we live. We are going for a surrendered life, not a perfected one. And I recommend that you give that same motto to your business. A surrendered business, not a perfect one. A surrendered beginning, not a perfect one. Go for it. It's so powerful. It releases you. I give you permission right now to just be surrendered and not be perfected, not be impressive. I'm not looking for you to be impressive. And I would say, if I asked any one of my clients, current or past, if they thought it was more important for me to be perfect or impressive, or just for me to be accessible, available, and present. And I guarantee that the latter is what they would say, because I'm just showing up and doing the best that I can right now. And I have grown as I've gone. And if I had waited, well, we wouldn't be on episode 304 right now if I had waited, because I still would never have had enough, and I would never have been enough if I had stopped and said, I'm just going to think about this for a long time till I feel ready, till I feel competent, till I feel certain. No, confidence is the willingness to show up and try. And in the beginning, you need confidence to show, which is you willing to look less polished, to be unimpressive, to be beautifully messy in your beginning, and keep trying. And when you fail and it doesn't go the way you wanted it to, because it's not going to, then you do it again. And over time, that result culminates in the legacy of growth. And it makes you a better coach, and it makes you a better business owner, and it builds your confidence and trust in the Lord and in what He can do as you walk humbly, teachably, in obedience, and you just start walking in faith. You will find over time that all these things are possible, and you're going to figure out how to move into it, and you're going to grow into the person that you need to be. But you have to define who is that person? Who's the coach that I want to be? The one who waited forever and put so much pressure on myself? Or do I want to be the coach who tried, who showed up, who got present and became available and started pouring out into people and do it in any way possible and test it all out and experiment and trust God that He is with you, He's for you, and so am I. So you need help? Book a session. Don't be scared. Go to the website, check the show notes, go book a session. I'm very available and I'm very affordable because this is like my ministry to you, to help you become the person who creates impact and income so you can do the things that you're called to do. So you can be the mom who stays home with your kids, who has a business, who supports alongside of your husband or as a sole provider or the main provider for your life, your home, your finances, your stability, your future, your dreams. I want to help you be that person. And I believe that the story inside of you can be cultivated to take action and become a guide to other people, which is what I think that's what coaching is. We're taking what our story has been with the Lord, what we know, what we've learned, our skills, our strengths, our spiritual gifts, all of these things are culminating to help us be the person we're becoming that God has called us and created us to be so that we can serve the world around us. This is modern day discipleship. This is the mission. You're fulfilling the Great Commission when you reach out and touch the lives of other people and bring truth and hope to them because Jesus is going with you. You've got green lights. Stop waiting for all the excuses to not be there anymore. Stop waiting for imposter syndrome to never appear. These are the facts of life, and it is okay for you to face them and then decide whether or not they line up with the truth and to overcome them and keep going and walking in faith to build what you are called to build and what you're called to do with God. All right, friend, talk to you next week with myth number 18. And we're about to wrap up this series and move into something else very exciting. So I'll see you there. Thanks for listening. For more coaching resources and to learn how to work with me, head to sterlingandstonementoring.com or click the link in the show notes. Remember, walk boldly in your calling, and I'll talk to you next time.